Okay, Tony, I'm sorry. Finally, I get to talk about this track. It's such a special song to me. And don't worry, of course, I'll tell you all about why it's even called 20 I'm Sorry, why there are two versions of it that are inherently two different tracks, and why it's even the concluding track of the album's first half as well. Although I wrote this song around the same time with some of the other tracks in the album, like The Sun Also Needs a Sun and Enough to Love, the story behind it actually goes way back to before I even released any music. So 2023 specifically. And it was, I remember, it was on my 20th birthday, the 7th of July, the day after I wrapped up my first EP as well, this one. And at the time, I was really into journaling for some reason, and I even have a dedicated track to journaling in that EP as well. And I thought, why not write an entry for my birthday, like a letter to myself, to the past, the present, and future me. And in that entry specifically, I wrote about how wrapping up the EP the day before my birthday was kind of like a birthday gift from the teenage me to the 20-year-old me, and as well as like how hard I've been on myself through that EP, and that I forgot I could only do so much as a kid that left home to live in another country since I was only 16 years old. Yeah, and I never really loved myself, to be honest, and so the whole meaning behind that EP is, and its title too, My Love Language, is about me finding a way to communicate love to myself, and that's why that title kind of got like a double meaning as well. And because that's what a love language is, right? It is a language or a way in which you communicate or express your love. Just because you found a way to express your love, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have any to express in the first place. And that is a question that the EP ultimately opened up to, that this album that we're working on may or may not have the answer to at all. And here comes the connection between 20 I'm Sorry and my 20th birthday and that My Love Language EP as well. I made a promise back then, basically, and through that EP as well, in a way, to love myself and to look after myself more now that I know how to do it for the 20-year-old me. That promise is the broken promise that kicks off the disappointment in the first half of the album, and that is a promise that The Sun Also Needs a Sun implies as well. The story in that song kind of resembles me in a way, because I was trying to love myself, but I was in the same way as the sun, oblivious to my own effort to look after myself. Because sometimes we try to find love without knowing how to accept the love that we're already receiving. In the same way that the sun in The Sun Also Needs a Sun tried to find and love another sun without knowing the fact that it is already the sun that is loved by everyone. And before I go off topic, 20 I'm Sorry is an acknowledgement that the promise is already broken, like it's already happened. You can't change it anymore. And I want to apologize as soon as I realize that, before fixing things and moving on, because I have to. I can't just be stuck here in the past, agonizing what should have been done, what could have been better. We gotta move on. But the timing in which I do that, interestingly, resulting in two different perspectives, and hence the two versions as well. One is when I'm still 20, and one is when I'm no longer 20. And when I first had the song idea, or even just the title, I told my friend about it, and his immediate response was, "But you're still 20, exactly. Why should I wait till later to apologize when I realize now that I already messed up and broke that promise already halfway through my 20th year?" And here's how I see it. The apology comes when you realize your mistake, not when everything is over and all you can say is sorry. That's not how it works, in my opinion. And that's also why I released 20 I'm Sorry, the demo version, and Don't Love Me as a hidden track before I turned 21 this year. Ideally, it should have been the full version, but I couldn't quite manage that. But because of that, we now got the two different perspectives, which is interesting too. And because timing is a big factor in the story or the narrative of this song, the first line straight away starts with 20, I'm sorry for feeling half of you in the dark. That refers to when I wrote it, which was January this year. And that's exactly halfway through my 20th year. Because from July this year to July next year, January is in the middle. Now, because I had to release the demo version before turning 21 to get the original message across, I got to finish the full version from a completely different perspective. And so we kind of get this, before and after situation with the same song. So aside from the drastically different production and the scoring, the two versions, I also changed the lyrics to the second verse in the full version to respond to the demo version's second verse. And let me show you what I mean. And just to remind you, the demo version is When I'm Still 20. This is also the guitar I used to record the demo version as well. I know I'm still 20, but because I'm still 20, I wanna say sorry. Before it turns out differently, it's okay maybe to look for blue sky in the storm. I'm still 20. Nothing was guaranteed. And here's the full version's second verse. When I'm no longer 20. I'm no longer 20. But because I was 20, I still would be sorry. Although it did turn out differently, it's okay maybe to look for blue sky in the storm. I was just 20. Nothing was guaranteed. So what I did there is kind of similar to that meme, when someone famous passes away and Wikimedia editor goes and changed for every is from to was. I kind of did that, but that gets my point across, so why not? And from this point of the song onwards to the end of the song is the present 21-year-old me talking to the past 20-year-old me. And on this premise as well, the final chorus also gets new lyrics. Soon the clouds will stop lifting my tears on your shoulder. So all you have to do is keep running. The sky will swallow you and I've been waiting till we meet. You got dream to chase and your song to love. Remember in the first episode, I mentioned that the second half of this album will feature a lot of the new genres that I'm exploring now. Well, the production of the full version is actually a hint that opens up to the new sound world of the second half that is very different from the first one. So yes, there is a very specific reason for R&B and rock to be in this same specific track, despite how unconventional that sounds, I know. So you can probably tell by now how special this song is to me and to this universe of my music that I created as a whole. In a way, I'm simply just writing soundtracks to my life, and that makes sense too, given how inseparable my music is from my very existence. And the first half of the album should be out by now as an EP, under the same name as the series as well, Chasing Another Promise. And I hope you can really appreciate and understand more now that you've learned so much more about the stories, the thoughts, and my intention behind every track, because I don't make music for the sake of making music. If you know me, it's really something special to me, and I always want to say something through it, and hopefully some people can relate to, find their own stories in it, or simply be even consoled by it. And next episode, I'll tell you some more interesting facts about the intro track and just the EP as a whole. And I really don't say this enough. Thank you so much for listening to my music and watching me being such a nerd through this whole series. We'll keep going and chasing that promise of no promises till we see the very end of it. Until then, see ya.